I'm a man who requires no introduction at this point. If you've been following my channel, if you've heard of it, you should already know the gist of this channel. Exposing trash. Make sure you're following me over to my Twitch in a few days when it comes back. If not, fuck you. But to bring it back to reality, a few months ago I made a video, an amazing video exposing the most garbage overrated manga of all time. Those are manga that people claim to be good, suck off the high heaven, but if you actually stop and think and look into the inner workings of those manga, you'll realize it isn't as good as those people say. Complete garbage manga. But then I realized, I had an epiphany, that there are a lot more garbage manga that people suck off the high heaven, claim to be good, but in reality do not come close to being even anywhere near as good as those people claim. So this is another amazing video comprised of another top 10 most garbage, overrated manga of all time. Without further ado, let's get into the topic of this amazing video. Alright, first up on the list is the garbage known as Berserk. How many times have I shit talked this manga now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times? Well, this is the 6th time. Quintessential elitist manga. And the funny thing is, people will try to shit on other quote-unquote elitist anime and manga, yet this will be their top-rated manga. Like, some people will shit on something like Legend of the Galactic Heroes, the quintessential, elitist anime, but Berserk is the quintessential elitist manga. Like, come on now, before Vagabond, before Villain Saga, before Goodnight Pum Pum, Berserk was always the quintessential elitist manga, before any of this shit. So how can you, shit talk other elitist garbage, but also like Berserk when it's in the exact same category as overrated garbage? But to get onto the actual manga, again, it's complete overrated garbage. The artwork is the main thing people are drawn to. Every arc gets worse and worse. The Black Swordsman arc was the only redeeming arc because at least it was actually where Berserk was intended to be. A mindless hack and slash blood and gore snake penis monster manga. Then it tries to get all deep, philosophical, and complex, and it does it poorly with bad characters in the fucking Golden Age arc. The conflict between Guts and Griffith is just horrible and generic as fuck. The whole love triangle between Casca, Griffith, and Guts, it's just typical 90s generic love triangle bullshit. Griffith is all upset because Guts doesn't return his feelings or something, like he's gay or something. I don't know. Griffith is just a generic villain that, descends into madness and power to try to achieve his lofty ambitions, and it's just super generic and corny. The whole Eclipse shit was so generic. Like, there was nothing interesting about the Eclipse. Oh, a whole bunch of the Band of the Hawk die. Casca gets raped. She gets impregnated with a demon baby. That's it. Like, how is that so memorable? How is that so iconic? It's such a generic scene. I didn't feel anything when I first saw or read Berserk back in the day. When I saw that scene, I didn't feel a damn thing. I wasn't impressed. There was no nuance to it. It was just a whole bunch of screaming and blood. Again, the only reason people suck off this manga is because of the highly detailed artwork. And again, back to the characters. Casca is a horrible character. First, she gets raped like 3 times. She gets impregnated with a demon baby. Then when she births the baby and Guts is about to kill the baby, she wants to keep the fucking baby. And isn't that shit like part of Griffith or something? Like, what a stupid fucking character. She wants to keep her demon baby after it's born. After what happened to her. I'm telling you, this manga is just full of horrible characters 24/7. People only suck off Guts, who is a Kenshiro ripoff because he's a tragic archetype, which is an archetype even in the 80s, the 1980s, which had been done to death. I mean, Berserk is just a combination of garbage like Devilman and an amazing manga like Fist of the North Star, but worser, which is crazy because Devilman is terrible. I mean, again, Berserk is just one of those manga people suck off because of the artwork, because it's the quintessential elitist manga. A whole bunch of shonen tards will hype up nothing but shonen. Look at all of these manga collector videos. They'll have a whole bunch of garbage shonen like One Piece and Bleach, but gotta have that Berserk Deluxe Edition to prove you're not a casual. Like I said before, the quintessential elitist manga. Complete garbage. There's no redeeming qualities. The manga just gets worse and worse. The Conviction arc was terrible. The Fantasia arc was terrible. Whatever the current arc is terrible. Thank God this trash is never going to complete. It was never good from the start. I really hate this manga. This manga will never be good. Horrible ass manga. I'm going to continue to shit on this manga for the rest of my fucking life. Fuck Berserk. Next up is the garbage known as Chainsaw Man. Now, I made an amazing video a few weeks back exposing this garbage. This shit is absolutely trash. Juvenile humor galore. Horrible art style, terrible characters, bland story, a story that goes nowhere. At first, when I first read it, when it was a new manga and it first came out, it was interesting. The whole gun devil shit, hunting the gun devil, I thought that was kind of cool. But then it just deteriorates into this cesspool of fake philosophical themes with terrible characters who cannot hold the type of story this manga is trying to tell. Denji is a horrible character. His nuance is non-existent. All the other side characters like the sword guy, what's his name, Aki or something, trash. Power sucks. That fucking angel guy sucks. All of the other characters just die at some point because they're just forgettable. The creator starts killing off all the characters because he made a whole bunch of trash characters. Same thing with Legend of the Galactic Heroes. They made a whole bunch of characters and then they kill them off like a chapter later, an episode later, because they're not good characters. They're not fit to last long. Makima is a terrible protagonist. She's just a worse version of Griffith, which is impressive because Griffith himself is a terrible ass character. So imagine taking cues and things from another trash manga. Chainsaw Man is just a quintessential garbage new age overhyped shonen that you got all these other idiots sucking it off because they don't know what good taste is. You got all these idiots talking about the only good new shonen. Like what? Shonen in general is trash. The only good shonen was in the 90s. And a few in the early 2000s, but this calling this good? Man, where's your taste at? Where's your taste? What are you doing? Like, seriously, did you claim this to be good? All it takes is blood and gore, sex jokes, juvenile humor to, compromise your taste? And claim this to be good? You're a fucking idiot. Most of the people sucking this off are only sucking it off now because a whole bunch of YouTubers are making a video. This is going to be your next favorite anime of the year. You got a whole bunch of people making videos like that over this trash. Like, get the fuck out of here. This manga was garbage. I read it when it first came out. It wasn't good. Read it to the very end, and it still was not good. Terrible ass manga. This manga is horrible. Next up is the garbage known as Kingdom. This is just a shonen pretending to be a seinen. This manga is terrible, I'm telling you. This is nothing but, if you want to read a manga like Kingdom, read Ravages of Time. That's an actually Romance of the Three Kingdoms adaptation that's actually good. Not this typical garbage shonen shit. All the characters in this manga will get into the most treacherous situations, the most fucked up situations, but they'll come out unscathed all the time. This manga is just full of a whole bunch of shitty fights with terrible strategies. It's really just a battle shonen. It tries to be military like amazing like military strategy. It tries to incorporate shit like that, but it's terrible. All of the plans are stupid. All of the plots are stupid. Again, it just has a whole bunch of mindless action for all the shonen tars. This is a seinen that people like to like because it's like mostly just a shonen, but because it's seinen, it'll make it seem like they have good taste or sophisticated taste. But no, it's really just a poorly done Romance of the Three Kingdoms story. Read Ravages of Time. That's an actually good manga that has this whole kind of whatever mythology this is. I forgot what type of mythology it is, but old knight setting kind of. It has a kind of story like that, but it's way better. It's way more political, way better written, way more advanced than this trash ass shonen. This is just a whole bunch of mindless action fights with characters that never die, that scream 24/7. I mean, the main character is terrible. There's a reason nobody really talked about this manga. And the people who do are just idiotic shonen tards who like shit like One Piece. Anybody who likes shit like Kingdom, I guarantee you, they also like One Piece. They also like Bleach. They just like these garbage ass series. They like Vagabond. They like Berserk. This manga is terrible. It's not good. It wasn't good a year ago, a decade ago, and it isn't good now. That's why this manga keeps getting terrible adaptations. Just like Berserk. People try to claim like this or Berserk is like a high profile manga. How come they keep getting shitty adaptations? How come? Because that just goes to show that the source material was never that good. If the manga was truly good, they would put more soul, passion, and effort into the anime adaptation. But Kingdom, just like Berserk, always gets shitty adaptations because the manga is trash. There's no point in paying respect to these manga and animated form because they're not that good to begin with. Terrible. Next up is Terror for Mars, or whatever the fuck this shit is called. This manga is terrible. It has a retarded premise. It's just a Monster Hunter ripoff but set in space. Basically, they're trying to hunt these cockroach mutants or whatever on Mars. It's super fucking stupid with a whole bunch of... This is just a I think this is actually a shonen. I'm not sure if it's a seinen or a shonen. Regardless, this is just a typical generic battle shonen with a whole bunch of bland characters and super powered fights that just go nowhere and just go on forever. They're fighting these mutant cockroaches that do all these like funny faces, and I guess I'm supposed to laugh because they do a whole bunch of weird and out of this world things for like comedic effect, but it just isn't funny. There's nothing funny about this manga. The only saving grace I would say is the art style. That's the only redeeming quality to this manga. But this manga, for the most part, is just bland, generic, terrible characters galore. Like, I'm surprised this shit has like 20 volumes and is currently ongoing, because there's really nothing interesting, unique, or well written about this manga. I guess if you like just mindless action and you're an idiot, you'll say this manga is good or even worth the investment or checking out. But for me, people like me, nah, can't fuck with this trash. This manga is horrible. Next up is the garbage known as Record of Ragnarok. A garbage Baki the Grappler ripoff, but not as good, not as well made. You know, the action. A manga like this, the main appeal of a manga like this is the action, the fight scenes, this and that. But everything is just so fucking boring and basic. You know, the concept of this manga is interesting. It has like taking all these prolific and powerful individuals throughout history and fighting gods, pitting them against gods. That's an interesting concept. But this manga is just trash. I don't know, the fights are just terrible. The artwork isn't that interesting. Some of the fights, like the powers are not explained. Like people just win on a whim. Random shit just happens. It has a whole bunch of like tit jokes, which again I'm fine with, but it isn't really that funny or whatever. And the manga just goes on and on with a whole bunch of bland and boring fights, bland characters. Like, you can do an action series and still have well-written characters. That seems to be a thing people don't understand. You don't have to sacrifice one for another. You don't have to sacrifice action for poorly written characters, or have nothing but well-written characters but like bad action and making a boring story. You don't have to do that. There's ways to incorporate cool action with well-written characters, but this manga seems to have neither. I don't think the action, the fights are very good, and the characters certainly are not good. So I really don't see the appeal of this manga. I guess it's just for all the DBZ fanboys who are just drawing out because they haven't gotten their latest fix of Dragon Ball Super garbage. But yeah, that's basically the only reason people are hyping this up. All the people sucking off garbage like Dragon Ball Super are sucking this trash off, but this manga is not good. There's a reason nobody was really talking about this manga until like a few YouTubers started talking about it or whatever. But yeah, Record of Ragnarok is just complete overrated F tier garbage. Next up is the garbage known as the Land of Lustrious, or whatever this trash is called. And this manga is terrible. First of all, the art style is horrible. Like usually if a manga has, you know, bad artwork or good artwork and bad writing or whatever, I'll still read it because I like art. I like looking at good art. But the art in this manga is ugly as shit. This is just a ripoff of that Cartoon Network cartoon, which I will not name because it's a trash cartoon. But again, it's just about these gem creatures or whatever trying to fight and hold on to their value or whatever, because like the opposing opposition wants to take their value for themselves and sell them or whatever. I don't know. I didn't read that far into this manga, but from what I saw, it's complete garbage. It's overhyped as fuck. This is the type of manga, artsy manga, that people like just because like it's an artsy kind of manga. Not in terms of good writing, but in terms of like, I guess like the concept. The concept is kind of well, I won't even say unique. There's nothing really that unique about this manga, but I guess the whole pretty lady, pretty girl kind of thing, it appeals to a lot of weirdos, basically. People like weirdo manga like this, but aren't sophisticated enough to challenge themselves with actual good manga, actual good under the radar kind of manga. That's the type of person that likes this type of manga, that appeals to this type of manga. Just a garbage, fake, wannabe artsy manga that people only like to seem like they have underrated, great taste. But this manga just isn't that good. It wasn't well executed. The premise is just a shitty war manga with a whole bunch of terrible fight scenes. The fight choreography in this manga is terrible. Like, how do you mess that up? If you're going to make a manga about action, at least get the paneling good. That's one thing I can say about something like Record of Ragnarok. At least the paneling is good, but this trash is just all over the place. This manga is just horrible. I can't think of one redeeming quality. Again, from the artwork to the story to the characters, from what I read, it just wasn't good. I'm not going to keep reading trash if it doesn't hook me within like the first few volumes. I'll give a manga a few volumes, but this shit just did not hook me. Trash. Next up is the garbage known as Hell's Paradise, and there's a reason this manga got cancelled. This shit only lasted like 10 volumes. There's a very good reason, because it was trash. full of bland, uninteresting characters doing bland and uninteresting things. You know, it's a typical generic battle showing that people try to claim like it's not, because I guess the main protagonist's goal in the story is a little bit more selfish than the other characters. You know, he got cursed and he's trying to undo the curse. He's a ninja. And it's really just like Naruto. He's not a real ninja. He's not like hiding, assassinating people, stealthing like Ninja Gaiden or something, like a ninja like that. It's not a real ninja. The characters are uninteresting. The artwork is ugly to me. The artwork is ugly as shit to me. I don't like how it looks. I don't like how the characters look. The shit kind of reminds me of Death Note. Like one of the characters, I believe the main character, he looks like fucking a Death Note character. And it's just fucking ugly. The fighting is terrible. Again, this is another generic battle showing that people are trying to claim like it's not good. You know, it has power of friendship tropes, a whole bunch of Deus Ex Machinas. Like, this manga is just not good. I don't get how anybody is saying this shit is good. It's not. Trash. It's getting an anime adaptation for no reason because the manga got canceled. I mean, this manga is just terrible. Do not check this trash out. Horrible ass manga. Next up is the garbage known as Devilman. Now, I hate Devilman, everything about Devilman. Devilman Crybaby, Devilman Lady Devil Woman, whatever. But Devilman Grimoire did look interesting. I'm not sure if it's the exact same thing, but the original Devilman manga is terrible. This is an example of a classic manga that may have been influential in its day, but it's not as good. It never held up. I don't even think it was good back in the day. Back in like the 60s and 70s, they were way better manga than Devilman. And the funny thing is, I actually like Go Nagai. I like Cutie Honey. I like Violence Jack. I like a lot of his manga. But Devilman, in my opinion, not my opinion, my facts, this is the worst manga he has created. It's just horrible artwork. This is his artwork at its worst. This is his paneling at its worst. Just terrible, ugly ass panels with no cohesion or fluidity when it comes to just conveying a story. The artwork is terrible. The story is shit. You know, you should already know what the story is. Post-apocalyptic garbage. It just comes out of nowhere. First, it's like a mindless action manga. Then it tries to get all deep and philosophical with Lucifer and Devilman. And it just isn't done well. It has so many like remakes and adaptations like Devilman Crybaby, which were somehow even worse than the original, which is crazy. You know, you take a simple concept and make it even worse than the Crybaby anime with a horrible, ugly ping pong animation art style. I mean, that anime was just terrible. But back to the manga again, I just did not like this manga. Again, it was influential in its heyday. But the funny thing is, the things that influence are way better. Like Evangelion. This even influenced Berserk. And Berserk is terrible, so take that for what you will. Maybe if this was never made, we would have never hit the garbage like Berserk. But that's not true because Berserk also heavily rips off Fist of the North Star. But yeah, Devilman is just complete trash. I don't think this manga is good in any sort of way or fashion. Terrible. Next up is the trash known as Eden It's an Endless World, and this manga is another quintessential elitist manga, complete overrated garbage. But this is a little bit more under the radar than something like Vagabond, Vinland Saga, Berserk. Like you're not gonna see all those weirdos on the internet, on Twitter, on YouTube talking about this manga, because this is a little bit more under the radar, a little bit less accessible than those manga, so you're not gonna hear people talking about it. But it's all the more trash for it. I mean, this manga is this manga is overly ambitious for what it is. Maybe if the manga was longer, it could have been better, but the premise is absolutely terrible. Basically, there's this virus that wiped out like a percentage of humanity or whatever, and it's just dwells into this revenge saving quest cycle manga where the world is in black and white. It's a little bit of that gray area, but it isn't executed well. This is nothing but a gun ripoff, Battle Angel Alita ripoff, but not as good, not as well made, not as well paced. It has a whole bunch of plot conveniences, a whole bunch of characters that don't develop. I think some characters are like developed in like side choppers or something. Like, it's super retarded. This manga just isn't good. Like, nothing about this manga is really stand out. Nothing about it. The main character, Elijah, is a terrible character. It keeps switching between points of views and perspectives, and it isn't done well. Like, nothing about this manga is really that great or amazing that people might claim it to be. It really isn't. The only saving grace about this manga may be the background art. Even the way some of the characters look, this does not look that good. I don't really like the main creator's art style or whatever. This manga just isn't that good. There are way better cyberpunk manga than this, way better. again, quintessential elitist manga that I feel like in a few days time, or a few months time, years, that people are gonna start sucking this off like how they suck off garbage like Berserk or whatever. But this manga just isn't good. Let that be known. The people who might start sucking this off, it was never good. They're the same people who hype up garbage shonen, the same three seinen, like again, Vagabond, Goodnight, Pun Pun. But Eating It's an Endless World is just a manga that, again, like I said before, is overly ambitious for what it sets out to be. If it was longer, maybe it could have had more potential. But as it stands, some stuff is just left unanswered. Some plot threads don't make any sense. Just not a very good, well-made manga. It's not very well-paced. It just isn't that good. And it never will be. Last but not least is the garbage known as Fire Punch. And this man Fujimoto is a complete hack. This is literally just Chainsaw Man, Fire Edition. I know he made this first, but from the way the story's conveyed, to the action, to the characters, to how the plot progresses, it's exactly like the garbage known as Chainsaw Man. He made the exact same series, not once, but 2 fucking times, and he got away with it. He got away with it. This is another garbage fucking manga about a guy in an abnormal status like the Chainsaw Man, but instead he's immortal and he's constantly on fire and he has to live with that pain. A whole bunch of bullshit ensues, a whole bunch of weird incest jokes about him and his sister or whatever. Like, I'm supposed to laugh at that, I guess, because it's funny or something, and people find that hilarious. He like feeds the village or something with his arm, and it regenerates because he can like regenerate his limbs, and it's just a whole bunch of stupid shit. The plot goes absolutely nowhere. I don't understand how people can take this guy, his writing, seriously. Nothing makes sense. Nothing gets well explained. Nothing is well written. Nothing is well made in any of his manga. This has the exact same problems as Chainsaw Man, and this came out like 2 years prior. It's crazy. It's scary how this guy managed to make another work, Chainsaw Man, when it's the exact same thing as his previous work, and it managed to get mainstream appeal. I'm telling you, man, you people just reward mediocrity left and right. This is why they, the anime and manga industry will never be the same. Will never be the prolific quality that was engaged in the 80s and 90s. Because we keep letting frauds and hacks like Fujimoto create trash like Fire Punch and Chainsaw Man. Stop. It's the exact same thing. The guy made the same series twice. You people are just incompetent idiots. Incompetent fucking buffoons. This is why I will never in life take you people seriously, because nothing you people say, do, has any real reason. You're just instigating garbage. You're not accepting quality. You're letting mediocre products like Fire Punch just run rampant in the industry. And for that is the greatest sin. Letting mediocre works run rampant is the greatest sin that you can do for an industry, especially one that used to be good, like manga. But yeah, Fire Punch is just terrible. Again, from the action to the art, as ugly as ever. Nothing about it is standout. From the action to the art, nothing about it is particularly standoutish. It has all the exact same problems as Chainsaw Man. Terrible pacing, terrible action, horrible art style, but ugly characters, like nothing. Terrible. Unfunny humor, garbage.